Good morning, Rebels, and welcome back to my life. Spoiler warning right up front for the Hobbit, the Battle of Five Armies film. So today let's talk about Thorin in the third Hobbit movie, and specifically what happens to him at the end. You already left for the spoiler warning, alright? Okay, I'm talking about his death, and also the deaths of Fili and Kili. Now this was actually one of the most problematic parts of the whole movie to me. Not just how he died, but everything leading up to it. Now let's get this out of the way right up front. In the film, he died fighting Azog, where in the book he died fighting Bolg, Azog's son, because Azog had already been killed at the Battle of Moria by Thorin's cousin Dain after Azog killed Thorin's father, Thror. Thrain? Now this is a break from canon, but I can respect it as a filmmaking decision, because who is Thorin gonna have a bigger grudge against? The goblin who killed his father, or the son of the goblin who killed his father? Although as long as they're changing things, I think they missed a huge opportunity to have Thorin kill Bolg in front of Azog, which would have just been a great FU to him. Now granted, they're both goblins, so Azog probably wouldn't have cared that much, but still it would have been cool. With some really awesome one-liner like, "My father died at your hands, and now your son will die at mine." Or, "If my line ends here, then so does yours." But that didn't happen, and yes, it was super annoying when he stood on the ice and watched Azog's dead face float by, and we all knew that Azog was going to burst physically impossibly through the ice and kill him. But at the same time, Richard Armitage was really good in that scene, and I totally believe that he wanted to watch his enemy float away to his death. I mean, he's not just gonna walk away. But in the film, Thorin dies after Azog kills Fili and after Bolg kills Kili. Whereas in the book, he dies in battle, and then Fili and Kili die protecting his body. This is a huge theme in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and stems from an Anglo-Saxon tradition of the love between an uncle and his sister's sons, which they hold to be one of the strongest familial bonds there is. Now, the film still could have had Fili and Kili die before Thorin and made that really intense. I just don't think they pulled it off. Their deaths just weren't given enough weight, especially Kili, whose death seemed way more important to Tauriel than to Thorin, because Thorin didn't even know about it. So that's problematic, but I actually take far bigger issue with the fact that Thorin went to confront Azog on top of a mountain far removed from the rest of the conflict. First of all, I just think that all of the company of 13 dwarves would have gone with him. It just didn't make sense to me that any of them would have stayed behind at that point. And it's not an excuse that they didn't see him go. I mean, I think that Dwalin would have, gone and gotten all of them. But far more important is how it affected Thorin's character arc and how it robbed him of the resolution of his storyline. In the book, like the film, Thorin comes bursting out of the mountain with all 13 of his dwarves and leads a counterattack into the Goblin army. They charge the Goblin ranks and everybody rallies to their side, and I do mean everyone. As he comes out, he shouts, to me, elves and men, to me, oh my kinsfolk," and they listen. Everybody surrounds him, and they just wreck the goblins. And together with the final rescue from the eagles, the battle is won. What does that do for Thorin's character? Well, he dies in battle, fighting against his mortal enemies, supported by all three of the good races of the north. 4 if you count Bilbo. It's the moment when he really truly becomes the king under the mountain, and that's how he leaves this world. And a personal duel with Azog on top of a mountain far removed from the actual battle itself robs Thorin of that resolution. Because when he dies, he's just another lost dwarf in the wilderness, fighting desperately against a single goblin. He's not a king anymore. He's a wandering prince, just like he's been for the last many decades of his life, and like he's been trying to escape for the whole trilogy of movies. So that was disappointing. The greatest disappointment of the trilogy for me. And now, I think I've finished with my problems with the third Hobbit film. But that doesn't mean I'm done talking about it, because in tomorrow's video, I want to start going back through it and talking about what they did right. Because there were a lot of things that they absolutely nailed, not just in this movie, but in the trilogy, and that's what we'll start talking about tomorrow. Because it's a pretty crappy review that only talks about the bad parts of a film, especially when this guy right here actually loved it. So stay tuned, Rebels. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Check the video description for links to my books and website, blah, 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 and I will see you tomorrow. Maybe. Bye!